The night began like any other. The streets of New York were alive with lights, laughter, and traffic. People were busy with their lives, unaware that their world was about to change forever. Then, just after midnight, the stars began to move. At first, people thought it was some kind of meteor shower. Bright trails of light streaked across the sky, hundreds of them, silent and beautiful. Phones came out, social media filled with videos and excitement. But then, the light stopped. They hung in the air, unmoving, glowing brighter. The air itself began to hum, deep and strange, like the planet was holding its breath. Somewhere in the Pentagon, alarms screamed. The radar screens went red with thousands of unknown signatures entering orbit. In less than a minute, the sky over every continent was covered. They were not meteors. They were ships. The Imperial Armada had arrived. From space, the fleet looked endless. Silver and black ships the size of cities floated in formation, blocking the moonlight. The largest of them, the Dominion Spear, descended first, casting a shadow across the Atlantic. Lightning rippled through the clouds as it entered the atmosphere. The world watched in silence as the broadcast began. A voice filled every speaker, every phone, every device across the planet. It was calm, cold, and ancient. This planet belongs to the Empire. You have 10 hours to surrender your world or be erased. Then the transmission ended. No demands, no negotiation, only silence. Panic followed. Governments tried to contact the invaders, but got no response. Satellites were jammed. Power grids started to fail. In the cities, people ran, others prayed. And in the mountains, deep under the earth, something old came alive. Buried beneath the Rocky Mountains was a facility that had not been opened for decades. Site 09. The lights flickered on one by one, dust falling from the ceiling as giant steel doors unlocked themselves. Inside, forgotten systems started to hum. Monitors blinked awake, showing old words in red text. Project Wrath, standby mode. Commander Reyes arrived with his team, wearing old military gear. His face was calm, but his eyes sharp. He had seen this coming for years. "We always knew they'd return," he said quietly. "And we built this place for that day." His team moved quickly through the corridors. There were no windows here, only thick metal walls and the sound of machines breathing again after a long sleep. In the command room, an ancient terminal came to life, displaying old human symbols mixed with strange alien code. Reyes placed his hand on a scanner. The machine recognized him. Access granted. Project Wrath protocol ready. Above them, the alien ships began to move. They targeted military bases, communication centers, power plants. The first strikes hit Japan, Russia, and India. Entire cities vanished in light. Millions gone in seconds. The sky was no longer dark. It was fire. In Washington, chaos erupted. Leaders argued over surrender or resistance. But Reyes didn't wait for orders. He looked at his team, soldiers, engineers, scientists, all tired but determined. "We fight," he said. "No surrender." One of the scientists, Dr. Mira Han, looked at him with fear. "Sir, if we activate Project Wrath, we don't even know what it will do. It could destroy us too." Reyes looked at the burning sky on the screen. "If we don't, there won't be an us left to destroy." Outside, the alien fleet began descending lower into the atmosphere. Massive beams of light scanned the ground, marking targets. Human fighter jets rose to engage, but they were destroyed before even reaching the clouds. The difference in power was impossible, yet far below, something strange started happening. The ground began to vibrate deep and steady. Energy readings spiked across the globe. Ancient sensors, long thought dead, activated in unison. Project Wrath wasn't just a weapon. It was connected to something at the planet's core. Dr. Mira's voice trembled. "These readings, they're not man-made. This energy is older than us, older than Earth itself." Reyes stood silent, staring at the screens as the power surged. "Then maybe," he said, "it's time Earth remembers what it really is." Outside, lightning began to crawl across the entire sky, not from the clouds but from space itself. The alien ships paused, their sensors detecting massive energy signatures rising from beneath the crust. For the first time, the invaders hesitated. The stars themselves seemed to fade as the Earth's magnetic field glowed red and gold. Every compass on the planet spun wildly. Every piece of metal hummed, and from the heart of the Earth a deep sound echoed, like a roar from a sleeping god. The humans in Site-09 stared at their screens. "What have we done?" whispered one of them. Reyes didn't answer. He only said one thing as the alarms flashed crimson around him. "We didn't start this war, but we'll end it." The sky burned brighter and brighter until it looked like dawn had come early. Except this dawn was made of fire, and that was the moment the world realized the day had come when Earth would no longer bow. Smoke covered the horizon. Every major city on Earth burned as the Imperial Armada's attacks continued. The skies were red and black, filled with ash and falling debris. Humanity's greatest defenses had failed. But beneath the chaos, deep inside Site-09, Commander Reyes and his team were still alive, and they had just awakened something ancient. The control room was shaking from distant impacts. Sirens screamed in the background. Dr. Mira Han stood over the console, her hands trembling as lines of alien code appeared on the screens. "It's trying to communicate," she said. "But this language isn't human. It's not even from the Empire." Reyes leaned forward, his face pale under the flickering lights. "Then who built it?" The words on the screen changed. A low, rumbling sound filled the chamber, like a whisper coming from deep underground. It wasn't just through the speakers. They could feel it in their bones. The voice spoke slowly, distorted but powerful. "We remember the war. We remember the fall. We remember the promise." Everyone froze. Dr. Han whispered, "That voice, it's coming from miles below us. Something's alive down there." Reyes turned to his team. "Get me visual contact, now." Cameras from the lowest levels of the base flickered on one by one. Each feed showed massive tunnels carved into the rock, glowing faintly with golden light. Symbols lined the walls. Not human symbols, but something far older. At the center of the lowest chamber, half buried in stone, was a colossal metallic sphere. Pulsing like a heartbeat, the console identified it. Wrath Core, primary heart active. Outside, the alien ships were scanning the mountains. They had detected the sudden burst of energy from beneath the surface. The Dominion Spear, the largest of the enemy fleet, began lowering its bombardment array. Reyes didn't hesitate. "We need to defend this site. If they hit us now, we lose everything." Soldiers rushed to the defense tunnels. Automated turrets came online. Drones lifted into the air. But they all knew it wouldn't be enough against an armada that could erase cities. Inside, Dr. Han continued to decode the alien symbols. "These patterns, they're from the first cycle," Reyes frowned. "First cycle?" She nodded slowly. "There are old myths, stories of humans fighting the gods of the stars long before history. Maybe they weren't myths." The voice from the depths spoke again, louder this time. "The children of Earth awaken too soon. The enemy returns. Shall we keep the promise?" Everyone in the room turned toward the console. Reyes took a deep breath. "If you can hear me," he said, "we need your help. Humanity is under attack. We can't stop them alone." The lights dimmed. The energy readings spiked. The voice answered, "Then the wrath shall rise again." The floor shook violently. Rock cracked above them as the sphere below began to unfold. Massive mechanical arms extended outward, breaking through layers of ancient stone. Blue fire erupted from the tunnels as power surged through old circuits. Dr. Han shouted over the noise, "It's drawing energy from the Earth's core. It's alive!" Reyes held his balance as consoles sparked and glass shattered. "Then let it live," he yelled. "Let it fight." Above them, the first bombardment strike hit the mountain. The shockwave tore through the upper levels, collapsing entrances and crushing vehicles. Dust and fire filled the air. Soldiers were thrown to the ground. But the Wrath Core didn't stop. Its heartbeat grew louder, faster, until the walls began to glow. From orbit, alien sensors went into chaos. The readings coming from Earth made no sense. The planet's magnetic poles were shifting. Energy signatures were beyond any known scale. The commander of the Imperial Armada, Archon Valkesh, stared at the data in disbelief. "Impossible," he hissed. "They have no such technology." His second-in-command spoke nervously. "Should we continue bombardment?" Valkesh's eyes glowed. "Continue. I want this planet broken." But the moment they fired again, the wrath responded. From the depths of the mountain, a blinding surge of light shot into the sky. The beam pierced through the clouds, splitting them apart. It struck one of the alien battleships directly, cutting it clean in half. The explosion echoed like thunder across continents. Reyes and his team watched the feed, speechless. "That was just the activation pulse," Dr. Han whispered. "It hasn't even fully awakened yet." Outside, lightning storms spread worldwide. Oceans boiled with sudden energy surges. All around the planet, ancient structures hidden for centuries began to awaken. Massive towers, monoliths, and buried engines pulsing with the same golden light. Dr. Han realized the truth. Project Wrath isn't just a weapon. It's a network. It's the Earth itself fighting back. Reyes looked up at the shaking ceiling. "Then we hold the line until it's ready." More alien ships began to fall from orbit, raining destruction across the globe. But now, for the first time, humanity had something that could answer. The Earth had begun to remember its fury, and in the silence after the next strike, the voice spoke one final time, calm, almost gentle. "The wrath has awakened. The children of Earth shall not fall again." As the smoke cleared, Commander Reyes looked toward the sky, now glowing red with fire and lightning. "Then let them come," he said softly. "Let them see what humanity truly is." The Earth roared in reply. The Earth was trembling. Entire mountain ranges cracked open, revealing hidden metallic structures buried for thousands of years. Lightning danced across the globe, connecting sky to ground in great spirals of power. The Wrath Core had awakened, and with it, something deep within the memory of the planet itself. Commander Reyes stood inside the control room of Site 09, the air thick with smoke and dust. The screens around him flickered, showing energy readings that no human science could explain. Dr. Mira Han's voice trembled as she read the data. "It's rewriting the magnetic field of the planet," she said. "Every tower, every buried node is connecting into one grid. It's like Earth is becoming a single weapon." Reyes stared at the main monitor, which showed thousands of golden lines wrapping around the planet like veins of fire. "Then the question is," he said quietly, "who built it?" Before anyone could answer, the Wrath Core spoke again, a deep, resonant voice that filled every speaker and echoed in their bones. "The war returns. The children of the stars come again. But this time we remember," Dr. Han froze. "It's referencing a war before history, before recorded time." The console suddenly displayed ancient images, holographic projections forming from the air. They showed humans standing beside towering machines, fighting against monstrous fleets among the stars. The skies burned the same way they did now, but the humans in the visions were different, stronger, faster, wearing strange armor glowing with the same golden light as the wrath. Reyes whispered, "We fought them before." The holograms changed again. They showed Earth as it was millions of years ago. Oceans glowing, massive weapons firing into space, alien ships falling in flames. The last image was a message written in old human script. "When they return, awaken the wrath. We will endure." Dr. Han's voice was barely a whisper. "This is proof. Humanity wasn't born weak. We were made for war." Outside, the sky blazed with battle. The Imperial Armada was regrouping. After losing several ships to the first Wrath Pulse, they had formed new formations above every continent. Their commander, Archon Valkesh, refused to accept defeat. On board the Dominion Spear, Valkesh stood before the hollow display of Earth. "Primitive species," he growled. "How dare they touch forbidden power?" He turned to his officers. "Deploy the Star Shatter cannons. We will burn the crust itself." Back in Site 09, Reyes and his team prepared for the next wave. Power surged through the base. The Wrath Core's pulse was growing stronger by the minute. but it needed time. Reyes ordered defenses activated. "We hold the mountain," he said. "No matter what comes." Moments later, the alien assault began. Dozens of plasma strikes slammed into the Rockies, shaking the earth. The tunnels filled with fire and debris. Human soldiers fought to seal the breaches, firing railguns and drones into the storm. Outside, black clouds swirled as alien fighters descended. Through it all, the Wrath's voice spoke softly, guiding them. "The enemy fears what you once were. The stars remember your rage." Dr. Han connected the Wrath systems to human command networks. Across the world, surviving bases began to link together, following the Wrath's signal. Old satellites reactivated, controlled not by humans, but by the Earth itself. The network spread like wildfire. In Africa, a dormant structure rose from beneath the sands, firing beams of golden energy into orbit. In the Pacific, islands cracked open to reveal ancient towers, launching waves of electromagnetic fire that disabled alien ships. Humanity watched in awe as their world fought back. For the first time, the Imperial Armada began to fall. But the more the Wrath fought, the more unstable the planet became. Earthquakes shook continents, and magnetic storms cut through entire cities. Dr. Han warned Reyes, "If it continues at this rate, we could tear the planet apart." Reyes clenched his fists. "Then we find a way to control it." He stepped closer to the Wrath console. "If you can hear me," he said to the ancient voice, "you said we fought before. Tell me how we won." The voice paused for a long moment. Then it answered, "You did not win. You survived." The cost was everything. Reyes' eyes narrowed. "And this time?" "This time the Wrath remembers more than before. But to control it, one of you must bond with it." Dr. Han turned sharply. "Bond? What does that mean?" The Wrath's answer sent chills through the room. "A mind must guide the fury. A soul must anchor the storm." The team looked at Reyes. He understood immediately. "It needs a human operator," he said quietly. "Someone to become its core." Dr. Han shook her head. "That's suicide, Commander. No human can survive that kind of energy." Reyes looked at the screen, showing burning cities and dying people. "If I don't, there won't be any humans left to save." Outside, the alien fleet unleashed the Star Shatter cannons. Massive beams of white plasma struck the Earth, cracking the crust. The sky turned blood red. Reyes placed his hand on the console. "Do it," he said. "Bond me." The Wrath core pulsed with light. "Then the old war shall live again. Through you." A blinding flash filled the room. Reyes screamed as energy coursed through his body. Symbols appeared on his skin, glowing gold. His eyes turned white. The Wrath accepted him. Above the mountain, a column of golden fire shot into the sky, piercing the clouds and reaching into space. The alien ships stopped firing. For the first time, the invaders felt fear. Earth had chosen its champion, and as Reyes opened his eyes, now burning like the heart of a star, the Wrath spoke through him. The last war was silence. This one will be fire. The day humanity began to remember who they truly were, the day the echoes of the old war returned. The sky had turned into a storm of gold and fire. Across every continent, people stood frozen, watching the heavens burn. The once invincible Imperial Armada was breaking apart. Its ships drifted through flames and shattered metal, caught in the pulse that came from Earth itself. The planet was no longer just defending, it was fighting back. Deep beneath the Rockies, inside Site-09, Commander Reyes stood in the center of the control chamber. His body glowed with golden light, his voice echoing with power that was not entirely his own. The Wrath had bonded with him. He was now its living core. Half man, half ancient weapon, Dr. Mira Han could barely stand. The whole mountain was trembling, the air thick with static. "Reyes!" she called out, her voice shaking. "Your vitals are unstable. You can't hold this much energy." He turned toward her, his eyes burning like stars. "I'm not holding it," he said, his voice layered with something deeper, older. "It's holding me." Above them, alien ships regrouped. The Dominion Spear, flagship of Archon Valkesh, aimed its main cannon at the Rockies. The alien commander's voice thundered across all frequencies. "Your world dies now. You cannot command what you do not understand. Reyes looked up at the ceiling as if hearing the threat directly. We understand enough, he muttered. The wrath's power spread through him like lightning. He raised his hand, and miles above, the clouds spiraled outward in response. The earth itself seemed to breathe. Magnetic storms circled the planet. In space, the wrath field formed, a shimmering golden barrier wrapping the world in burning light. Every human felt it in their bones. Every alien ship felt it in their senses. Dr. Han watched the data scrolling across the screen. It's rewriting the ionosphere, she whispered. The entire planet is turning into one giant weapon grid. Outside, alien cruisers began firing again. Blinding plasma bolts struck the barrier, but this time they didn't penetrate. The golden field absorbed the impact, then fired it back. Massive arcs of light exploded from the clouds, slicing through enemy ships like paper. Each strike was faster than lightning, precise and merciless. On the Dominion spear, Valkesh roared in disbelief. Impossible. This world was supposed to be unarmed. His senses picked up something else. Ancient energy signatures matching records from the First Galactic War, a war that had erased half the galaxy eons ago. The same energy, the same fury, the same origin. They are the old ones, Valkesh whispered. The humans were the old ones. Back on Earth, Reyes stumbled, clutching the console, as waves of power surged through him. Images flashed in his mind, memories that weren't his. Battles in the void. Soldiers of light standing on burning moons. Voices shouting in forgotten languages. Humanity's first war. Dr. Han grabbed his arm. Reyes, you have to stop. You'll burn yourself alive. He looked at her and smiled faintly. If I burn, then let it light the way. He closed his eyes. The wrath took full control. From the core of the Earth, massive energy conduits erupted, glowing lines racing across the continents, connecting every tower, every hidden node. Oceans boiled with golden energy. The sky became a single living storm. Then came the counterstrike. Beams of pure power shot from the planet into space, not as weapons, but as sentient fury. They tore through the alien fleet, each one tracking its target with deadly intelligence. Ships exploded like stars, breaking apart in brilliant silence. Humanity watched from the ground as streaks of light filled the heavens. The Wrath's voice echoed across every device, every speaker, every open channel. The children of Earth have awakened. Leave or be erased. Valkesh refused to retreat. Fire everything, he commanded. The Dominion spear unleashed its star-shatter cannon, a beam capable of cracking a planet's crust. It struck the Earth's surface, but the beam never reached. The Wrath caught it mid-air, bending it like liquid. The energy turned back, slamming into the alien flagship with all its force. The Dominion spear shattered into burning fragments. The explosion painted the sky red and gold, visible across half the planet. Inside Site-09, alarms screamed. Dr. Han fell to her knees as debris rained from the ceiling. Reyes, the system's overheating. If this continues, it'll destroy the planet. Reyes, glowing brighter now, barely human, looked at her through the golden light. Then help me guide it, she hesitated. How? Remind it who we are. Together they linked into the control core. Dr. Han's voice became steady as she spoke through the system. We are the children of this world. We protect, not destroy. Remember that, the Wrath responded. Its glow softened, stabilizing. The energy around the planet shifted, from rage to balance. The magnetic field settled, the earthquake slowed. The golden light around Reyes dimmed slightly, but the battle wasn't over. The surviving alien ships began to regroup beyond the moon, gathering their remaining forces. They weren't fleeing, they were preparing for one final strike. Reyes looked toward the sky, his voice quiet but filled with power. Let them come. Dr. Han watched him, fear and awe in her eyes. What will you do? Reyes stepped closer to the glowing chamber at the heart of the facility. It's time humanity takes the fight to the stars. Above Earth, the wrath field pulsed one last time, and hundreds of golden beams shot into orbit, forming a colossal doorway of light. Humanity's first interstellar gate, through it. The next phase of the war was about to begin, and as Reyes walked toward the light, his final words echoed through every human radio, every channel, every heart. They thought they could conquer us, but they forgot. Earth fights back. The wrath roared again, and the stars themselves seemed to tremble. Silence filled the void of space, a strange, heavy silence after the storm. The Imperial Armada hung above Earth, its once glorious fleet torn and burning. But the war was not over. Far from it. Beyond the shattered moon, the surviving ships of the Empire regrouped, forming a new wall of steel and fire. Archon Valkesh stood on the command bridge of his new flagship, the Obsidian Crown. The scars of defeat marked his dark armor, his eyes glowing with fury. "They dare fight the Empire," he growled. "They dare touch the ancient fire." Behind him, his officers stood silent. Valkesh turned toward the hologram of Earth, still wrapped in the golden aura of the wrath. "Prepare the celestial bomb," he ordered. "If I cannot rule their world, I will erase it." Meanwhile, on Earth, Commander Reyes stood at the center of Site 09, surrounded by energy that flickered like sunlight through water. The Wrath Core pulsed steadily, connected to his heartbeat. Dr. Mira Han was beside him, exhausted but focused. "The Wrath field is stable," she said, "but if they use that bomb, nothing on Earth will survive." Reyes nodded slowly. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned with purpose. "Then we don't wait for them to come to us." He turned toward the main console. "Open the gate." The massive golden rift above Earth widened, spiraling like a living sun. From the other side came echoes, deep rumbles of distant energy and light. The Wrath was building something new. Dozens of objects began to rise from the planet's surface, floating upward. Ancient constructs, metallic shards once buried in oceans and deserts. They connected in orbit, forming colossal vessels of light. Dr. Han's voice trembled in awe. "They're ships. The Wrath is rebuilding a human fleet." Reyes smiled faintly. "Then let's give them a war they'll never forget." Within minutes, the first human-made Wrath ship, the Dawnbreaker, powered up. Its hull shimmered like molten gold, its engines silent and smooth. It was alive, connected directly to the planet's energy. When it moved, the Earth's core pulsed in rhythm. Reyes stepped forward, now fully integrated with the Wrath. His voice echoed through every communication channel on Earth. "This is Commander Reyes. Humanity stands united. This is our world, and we do not kneel." The new Wrath fleet rose through the Golden Gate, vanishing into the darkness between Earth and the Armada. In the cold vacuum, the two forces faced each other, one forged by conquest, the other by survival. The battle that followed would be written in the memory of galaxies. Valkesh raised his clawed hand. "All ships, fire!" Beams of blue plasma streaked through space, cutting across the void. Reyes moved his hand, and golden shields unfolded in front of the Wrath fleet. The attacks shattered harmlessly against them, their energy absorbed and reflected back. The retaliation was instant. Silent streaks of light from human ships struck the alien cruisers with surgical precision. One after another, the Empire's ships exploded in burning silence. Dr. Han watched the monitors from Site 09, tears in her eyes. "We're winning. My God, we're actually winning." But in the center of the chaos, a new signal appeared. The Obsidian Crown had begun its final countdown. The celestial bomb, a weapon meant to collapse an entire planet's gravity, was arming. If it detonated, Earth would be torn apart from within. Reyes heard the signal through the Wrath. His face hardened. "We end this now." He opened a channel to the Wrath fleet. "All ships hold the line." "I'm going after Valkesh." Dr. Han's voice crackled through the comms. "Reyes, that's suicide. You can't fight that ship alone." He smiled faintly. "I'm not alone." Reyes directed the Wrath's energy through himself, forming a burning sphere of light around his body. His physical form dissolved into pure energy, a being of golden flame. In that instant, he and the Wrath became one. He streaked through the battlefield like a comet, cutting through the remains of the Imperial fleet. Nothing could touch him. He passed through wreckage, fire, and silence until he reached the Obsidian Crown. Inside, Valkesh stood before the glowing bomb core. "You cannot stop destiny, human," he hissed. Reyes appeared in a blaze of light, his voice echoing like thunder. "Destiny doesn't own us." The two forces collided. The Wrath and the Empire's power met in a blinding storm of energy. Lightning tore through the ship. Metal melted. Space itself twisted. Valkesh struck first, his energy claw cutting through the air, but Reyes caught it, shattering it with one strike. "You came to conquer," Reyes said, his voice calm but terrifying. "You should have stayed away." He reached into the bomb core, channeling all the Wrath's power through himself. The bomb overloaded, its energy reversing inward. Valkesh screamed as the ship began to collapse. Dr. Han watched the explosion from orbit, her hands over her mouth. The Wrath's light expanded outward, not destroying, but cleansing. The remaining alien ships disintegrated in golden silence. Then came the quiet, the kind of silence that only comes after victory. The Wrath field around Earth dimmed, the skies cleared, and the golden light began to fade. Reyes was gone, his signal lost in the blast. Dr. Han whispered, "He did it. He saved us." From the wreckage of the obsidian crown, one faint light moved toward Earth, slow and steady, like a heartbeat returning home. The world below waited, watching the stars. Humanity had won the impossible war, but somewhere, far beyond human senses, something ancient was watching. The message had gone farther than they ever imagined. The Wrath had spoken, and the galaxy had heard. The world was quiet now. Too quiet. Months had passed since the fall of the Imperial Armada. The skies were clear, the oceans calm, and cities once broken were rising again. But beneath that peace, a strange unease moved like a whisper through humanity's heart. Commander Reyes was gone. Or so they believed. His name had become legend, the man who turned to light and erased an empire. Statues of him stood in the ruins of New York and Beijing, and children learned about the wrath of humanity as if it were myth. But Dr. Mira Han knew better. Every night, the Wrath core beneath Site 09 pulsed faintly, like it was breathing. She could feel a presence in it, faint, familiar. Reyes's energy signature. She had dedicated her days to studying what was left of the Wrath, though most of it was beyond understanding. The machines spoke in pulses of golden light, and sometimes they responded to her voice. One night, as she ran a diagnostic, the entire facility shook. The Wrath core flared bright, flooding the chamber with blinding gold light. The screens flickered, and a faint voice echoed through the static. "Mira, do you hear me?" Her heart froze. It was Reyes. His voice was distant, like it was traveling across stars. "Mira to control, I'm picking up a Wrath signal," she shouted. "It's him, Commander Reyes." The comms officers rushed to her side, eyes wide. "That's impossible. His energy readings vanished months ago." But the voice came again, clearer this time. "The war isn't over. They're coming." The light pulsed harder. Then everything went black. When the systems rebooted, Dr. Han stood in silence. The core was stable again, but something was different. Around the globe, old Wrath sites, long dormant, had suddenly powered up. Golden lights appeared in the deserts of Africa, in the frozen tundra of Siberia, and deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. Mira opened her global feed. The readings formed a pattern, a constellation that wasn't from Earth's sky. "Their coordinates," she whispered. "A warning from him." The United Earth Command gathered within hours. Generals, scientists, and politicians filled the massive council chamber. At the center, the hologram of the Wrath constellation rotated slowly, its lines pointing beyond the solar system. General Harland leaned forward. "You're saying there's another fleet out there?" Dr. Han nodded. "Yes, Reyes said they're coming. The Wrath is preparing defenses again. This means it sensed something powerful enough to trigger it." The council fell into silence. Then one of the younger officers, Lieutenant Vega, spoke. "If the Wrath could rebuild once, maybe it's rebuilding him too." Dr. Han looked up sharply. "What do you mean?" "The Wrath bonded to Reyes," Vega said. "It used him as a conduit. If his signal still exists, then maybe it's trying to bring him back." The idea hit Mira like a shockwave. She looked back at the glowing core. Could it be true? Meanwhile, beyond the edge of the solar system, in the ruins of the Imperial debris field, something stirred. Shattered hulls floated in the dark, pieces of alien steel drifting silently. Then one by one they began to move. A dark light flickered between them, black and red, crawling like living fire. The broken ships were reforming, reshaped by a new force, a remnant of the Empire, but changed, corrupted. Deep within that chaos, a familiar voice spoke in a low, broken tone. "You took my world, human. Now I will take your soul." Archon Valkesh was not dead. His body was gone, but his essence, the dark core of his being, had merged with the remnants of the celestial bomb. He had become something far worse, a weapon with no master, a creature of living energy and hatred. On Earth, storms began to gather without warning. Satellites failed one after another. The golden wrath lights flickered, turning darker, unstable. Dr. Han watched in horror as the readings changed. "This isn't just another invasion," she whispered. "Something survived the explosion!" The wrath core responded, pulsing rapidly. Its energy spiked, and then, without warning, a figure appeared in the golden light, a silhouette, human-shaped, glowing faintly. Mira, her eyes filled with tears. "Reyes." His form was flickering, unstable, but his voice was clear. "He's coming back. Valkesh isn't dead. The wrath brought me here to stop him, but it's not enough." She stepped closer. "What do we do?" Reyes looked at her, his golden eyes soft but urgent. "Prepare the world. Unite them again. The wrath will open one more gate. When it does, you must be ready." The light around him dimmed, his image fading. "Mira, this time he's not bringing a fleet. He's bringing the void itself." And then he was gone. The wrath core went dark. For the first time, humanity felt the weight of silence again, but it was different this time. It wasn't peace. It was the calm, before something vast and unknown. Dr. Mira Han turned to the command team. Her voice was steady, her face pale. "Begin Global Defense Protocol. Project Wrath is awakening again." The lights in the sky flickered, the clouds twisted with faint red glow. Somewhere beyond the stars, the corrupted essence of Valkesh was moving toward Earth, bringing something far older than his empire, something humanity had never faced before. The stars above Earth glowed red. For 3 days, the night sky shimmered as if it were bleeding light. People across the planet stood outside, watching, waiting, whispering. Something was coming. Dr. Mira Han hadn't slept. The wrath core beneath Site 09 was vibrating constantly now, its heartbeat syncing with her own. She knew what that meant. The gate was forming again. But this time, it wasn't opening to defend. It was opening to warn. All across the planet, wrath pillars emerged from the earth, massive golden spires piercing through cities, deserts, and oceans. They hummed in unison, forming a global resonance field. The world's power grids failed under the pressure, but no one dared to stop it. The wrath was awake. In the orbiting command ship Dawnbreaker, the surviving human fleet stood ready. Pilots strapped in, engines thrummed. Commander Vega stood at the helm, staring at the red horizon of space. Dr. Han's voice came through the comms. "Vega, when the gate opens, all readings suggest the enemy will not come through ships. It's energy, pure and intelligent." Vega clenched her jaw. "Then we'll fight energy with light." Suddenly the stars twisted. A hole appeared in space, not a portal but a wound. From it spilled darkness, thick and silent, devouring the starlight itself. Within that void, shapes began to move. Not ships, but shadows with form, glowing with faint red cores. Valkesh's voice echoed across the channels, distorted and inhuman. "You destroyed my empire, humans. But I have become something greater than power. I'm the void between stars. I am the end of light." His essence rippled through space, consuming everything in its path. The wrath fleet fired, but the beams vanished into the darkness like water into sand. Dr. Han's readings spiked wildly. "It's absorbing energy. It's feeding on it." On the planet below, the wrath pillars began to crack. Golden light spilled from them like molten rivers. And in that chaos, the core beneath Site-09 exploded upward, creating a massive column of light reaching the heavens. Mira stumbled backward as the ground split open. From the center of that storm, a figure rose, a being made of golden fire, human in shape but larger than life. "Reyes," she whispered. He hovered above the ruins, his eyes burning like twin suns. His voice carried through every wrath conduit, echoing across the world. "Humanity, stand firm. The light of the wrath will not fade." Every wrath spire responded, releasing golden waves that joined in the sky, forming a barrier around Earth, an enormous golden sphere of light that pulsed with the heartbeat of its people. Valkesh's darkness struck it again and again, tearing through fragments of the shield. The world trembled. On the Dawnbreaker, Vega shouted, "All ships, linked to the Wrath Field! Give it everything!" The human fleet poured its remaining power into the glowing net around Earth. Civilians across the planet joined. Every reactor, every satellite, every drop of stored energy feeding the core. Humanity's heartbeat merged with Reyes's voice. Inside the storm, Reyes faced the void. Valkesh's shape shifted constantly, a storm of black flame and broken armor. "You can't destroy me," the alien god hissed. "You are mortal. You burn and die." Reyes stepped forward, light rippling around him. "Then let me show you what humanity does before it dies." He reached into the Wrath's heart, the collective will of every human who ever lived, fought, or dreamed. The light grew unbearable, turning the sky into gold. From Earth, people saw it, a single golden streak cutting through the heavens, colliding with the red wound in space. There was no sound, only silence and blinding brilliance. The stars went out. Then came the roar, a wave of light washing across the solar system, pure and endless. The void shattered. Valkesh screamed as his form disintegrated, the darkness around him collapsing into dust. His final words echoed faintly, "You cannot destroy the void. It is part of you." And then he was gone. When the light faded, Reyes was nowhere to be seen. The wrath pillars slowly sank back into the earth, leaving behind fields of glass and silence. The sky returned to its true color, clear, blue, alive. On the Dawnbreaker, Vega watched as the systems came back online. "Is it over?" she asked softly. Dr. Han stared at the sensors. "Yes, but he's gone again." She looked out the viewport, tears running down her face. "He gave everything again." Weeks passed. The world healed. People rebuilt. And one night, while walking through the ruins of Site-09, Dr. Han saw a flicker, a faint golden glow in the dust. It pulsed once, softly, like a heartbeat. She smiled through her tears. "Welcome home, Commander." Above her the stars shimmered, one glowing brighter than the rest. And for the first time in generations, humanity looked to the night sky, not with fear, but with pride, because they knew, if the darkness ever came again, the wrath would rise once more.